Are you struggling to make coins using the 59-minute method?
Oh god, oh jeez, I don't know. Oh, so many cards here. Which card should I look at? Oh, Jake Gensel. Oh my god, he's going for 80k. Oh, let me just pull up Brianstormed spreadsheet. Link is in the description. Oh man, I don't know if 80k is a good price. That's like 20k less than his going price. That's not good enough for me, I don't think. I only chase the humongous big snipes, you know? Like Ovechkin for 100 coins, that's a good snipe. Ovechkin for 1,000, way too much. But I'll give it a shot. Oh no, I was too slow. How could I have been too slow? Well, don't you worry, for this may be the answer to your troubles. You see, I've been doing my daily update to these spreadsheets, and I'm finding deals like this Kucherov for 12k, or this Johnny Hockey that was going for less than he was going for. But I see a lot of these kind of cards, and I take note of the time remaining on the cards. They're going to be near the 3-hour mark, the 6-hour mark, 12-hour mark, 1-day mark, or the 3-day mark. And I decided, what if I just set up camp there with my marshmallows and tent and see what I can come up with? So to effectively use this strategy, what you need to do is set your buy now minimum to 50 and your buy now max to however many coins you have. And this will allow you to only look at cards that you can buy now. If you're not very familiar with prices, you should stick to the basic cards, but you don't have to. You can just look at all the different cards. Make sure you're looking at gold rare cards. You can look at bronze and silver cards. Occasionally there'll be like a goalie that's really good, but I don't think it's worth the effort because you're going to see thousands more cards just so you can get like a few extra cards that you can flip. So I present to you this method that is like the 59-minute method, but you're doing it at different marks right before the time that a person can put up a card, which are the times that I mentioned before. So I'm using the same tactics as the 59-minute method, but I'm going to the 3-hour mark where it's significantly more peaceful there. I felt like I was the only person actually flipping cards doing this. I saw some cards go unflipped for like 10 to 20 minutes, even though they were a really good steal. Of course, now that more of you are going to know about it, it's going to be more competitive and cards probably won't last as long. But at least you're not competing with hundreds of other players in the 59-minute range. You'll see similar snipes, but the cards aren't as frequent, which makes sense. Otherwise, I would have been a billionaire considering I was the only person at these spots. And the clips that I'm showing you are from about like a 1-month period. So some deals looked really good then, but may not anymore just because the prices of these cards have gone down. And so just reminding you of how the 59-minute method worked. When you look at a card and you don't think it's a good deal, then you push up on the right stick to view a card's synergies so that when you're switching between tabs, you'll know whether or not you've seen the card before. You flick the synergies up for all the cards between like the 3-hour mark and the 3-hour and like 10-minute mark, and then any new card that shows up at the 2-hour and 59-minute mark without a synergy is a new card that could potentially be flipped. Again, you do this at the 6-hour mark or the 12-hour mark, the 1-day mark, or the 3-day mark. Be mindful of seller's tax, where if you're selling a card, EA will take away 5%. So if you sell a card for 100k, you'll only get 95k back. Try not to get all of your coins tied up in one card in case it doesn't sell. And make sure that when you're selling, you sell far below the average price on the spreadsheet, usually less than 1k, just so that you can have the cheapest card out on the auction house. Let's take a break from that and look at trades again. Last week I told you guys if you put up a card for 10 million, you'll likely get more trades. Here I have this Milestone McDavid. I'm trying to sell for 235k, and I get offered a Brindamore, his face-off master set card. And what I do is I look at the price of the Brindamore, notice it's a good 35k more than what I was trying to sell McDavid for, so I figured that this is a good trade. In any trade, you guys have to know the value of the cards that are being sent to you, and you want the value of those cards to be above the price that you're asking for, unless you really want one of the cards that are being sent to you. Because if you take tax into consideration, you'll just be selling 4 cards instead of 1 for the same price. You want more so that you can at least get something out of it. If someone's giving you like 4 cards, for instance, it might be too much of a hassle to sell all 4 of those cards. Or in other cases, you may get cards that depreciate in value over time a lot easier, such as Legends cards, which seem to be just going down every day. Like this Van Beesbrook, who now goes for like 32k on average. So this method that I showed you guys earlier might be a killer to the method that I employ where I look at one particular card at a time. Just because if you have at least one person in all those different time ranges, you likely won't be able to find good deals on cards just by searching up a card. They'll all get sniped by the people sitting at that time frame. Unless you're looking at some kind of obscure cards like Team of the Week cards or milestone cards, where the people sniping may not have a good grasp on the price of those cards. Just something to keep in mind. This Bure was a nice snipe, 210,000, and at the time he was going for 260, 270,000, so I threw him up for that. It took him a little bit longer to sell, but eventually I sold them for 250,000, which is still a really good profit. Maybe like 30K or so. In my hoarding collectibles video, I told you guys to buy some of these Stars of the Month collectibles for under 10K. Anything higher would be risky. Well, halfway through the month, I was looking at the Stars of the Month collectibles and noticed that none of them were really under 15K. With over 2 weeks left to go, I decided, you know what? I'm going to throw up some of these for 15K, around 15K, and see if someone buys them. Sure enough, there was someone waiting and buying up every collectible, Stars of the Month collectible, for under 15K. So I threw up all of mine just so that I could buy them back like a few days later when more people are putting them up on the auction house for around 10K. Clearly the guy buying them for under 15K wasn't very patient. So just another tip for hoarding collectibles if you choose to go down that route. Here I got a nice and juicy Duncan Keith for 16K, which looks like a steal even today at the time of this video, but it's an even better steal considering I got it like 2 weeks ago. So I told you guys the different time frames for doing this method. Johnny Taves, that's a steal as well. What I found myself doing, which you shouldn't do much, maybe, I don't know, it really just depends on how many people will also be doing this tactic, is jumping between the 3-hour mark, the 6-hour mark, the 12-hour mark, the 1-day mark, and the 3-day mark every like 15 minutes or so to see if anyone was there, to see if cards were getting sniped. Actually, before I go into that point, I noticed that a lot of these cards that I was buying, many of them came from the same person who completely misunderstood the values of all of these cards. So many times when like 2 deals come up from the same person, you could potentially get like 5 or 10 deals at a time, which was pretty crazy. Just something I noticed. But anyway, what I would do is go to like the 6-hour mark and then look at all the cards maybe from 5 hours and 45 minutes to the 6-hour mark. At the 12-hour mark, I do the same, 11 hours and 45 minutes to 12 hours. Then at the 24-hour mark, I go to the 23-hour, 45-minute mark to the 24-hour mark. And 3-day mark, you just pretty much look at like all the cards on the last page or two. Speaking of which, if you're trying to get to the last page or two, you can just rubber band your controller to go towards the right, leave the room, then come back in like maybe 10-15 minutes and you'll be at the last page. That seems to be the page where people don't really know the prices of any cards, so you can get a good amount of steals there too. Like my friend did when he bought an Erik Karlsson for 5K. I don't think those were mistakes that were made. People legitimately thought Carlson sold for 5K. It's easy to make a mistake like that when you're putting it for 1 hour and you're doing it really quickly. But when you're changing the time frame of the auction, then you have an extra like few seconds to look at the price of the card to see whether or not you made a mistake. Though now that I think about it, maybe that extra few seconds may not even make a difference to a lot of people. Regardless, I know for a fact you will find steals at every one of those time frames. I'm just not sure which one's more popular than the other. I've mostly hung around the 3-hour mark and I found a lot of deals. But again, if I am going and seeing a lot of these good deals by looking at cards one by one, and I see cards at like the 12-hour mark, then it certainly is possible to do it wherever, really. Oh, another thing that you can also do if you don't know like the price of a card, because you're not looking at my spreadsheet, you fiend, you can just buy up like all the cards that you think are a good deal and then just sell them later when you back out of this screen so that you can look up the prices of the cards, like if they're Team of the Week cards or milestone cards, and sell them all at once rather than one by one, just so that you don't have to like go to the 3-hour mark every time. But yeah, this is pretty much the tactic that I've been using for the past month, though I still have a few other tactics that I'm going to share with you guys over the course of the next month. Stay tuned for that. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next week.